I'm in love, she knows she bad. But what's new? Maybe the baddest. I want you, girl. I gotta have it.
Hey baddies, welcome back to my channel. So today's video, I'm gonna basically be doing a natural makeup look. So let's get straight into this video. So right now, I'm just moisturizing my skin after doing my skincare routine because you gotta moisturize first before you do anything. Make sure your skin is on point. So I make sure I moisturize my neck and the neck too. So now I'm make sure I moisturize my lip before I do anything as well. Tell you skincare is important. Make sure no boogers in my nose because you don't want a pretty face and big boogers hanging out your nose. So now I'm going to use both of these primers. I'm going to use my LA Girl primer as well as my MAC primer because I was running out of the MAC one, so I used the last little bit of that while I use my LA Girl Pro primer. With this MAC primer, I actually like this more than the LA Girl Pro primer. I feel like it just makes my skin more smoother for easier base when it's time for me to add foundation. I'm gonna have to make this a voiceover because it's so early to talk. Like, it's 7 in the morning. I don't want to talk this early. So now I'm going to take this Got To Be glue and I'm going to put this on my eyebrows. I actually got this trick from EYEBROW. However, she actually used edge control. I didn't want to use the edge control that I have because I feel like it wouldn't hold my eyebrow hairs how I wanted it to. And I knew that this Got To Be glue, this could hold the hair down. So that's the reason why I use this instead of edge control. So after I put the glue on my brows, I like to go in with this razor and shape it up just a little bit more. The day before I cut the hairs just a little bit, but I still wanted it shaped to my liking. So this is what you see me doing here. Because I'm doing like a light kind of makeup look, I'm really doing too much with the glue and, you know, shaping my brows with the brush. I just wanted to like flow kind of naturally, but still doing something to it. Now I'm going in with eyebrow pencil. I'm going to pay like $1 for this. Oh, the beauty supply store. I really can get it from anywhere. I actually wanted to use a pomade, but I couldn't find none last minute, so I'm just drawing my eyebrows at the flow of my hair. Normally I would do my brows to make them like bigger, force them, but with this brow I just do as the hair flow. Man, I still suck at these voiceovers, so y'all gonna have to bear with me. But right now I'm using my LA Girl Pro concealer in the shade Toffee to do just the bottom of my brows. I like to start like a little bit under it and work my way up instead of just trying to line it up and having too much concealer on it, which will mess up my brows and I'll have to start over, and I hate starting my brows over. So like I said, I only outline the bottom of my brows, and for the top of my brows, you're gonna see me in a few seconds using my foundation. Bottom of the brows, concealer, top of the brows, foundation. That's the key. So right now I'm taking an eyeshadow brush actually, and I'm bringing down the concealer before I just blend it in where it is. I like to bring it down so that it's more smoother and not just one big patch here and then one big patch after I add more concealer on my base. Then I take my beauty blender to blend that out. so that now as I add my concealer on my eyelids, it can blend in with that. So you see how the two correlate together? Yes, this is what we want. You don't want to see no line where you stop putting the concealer for your brows and your eyelids. No, babes, let that blend together. And when I say blend, take your whatever the sponge you call and blend it together. Just a small tip: when I blend in my concealer, I like to hold my brows up just a little bit so I can make sure that I smooth it out even and not get any concealer on my brows. So now I'm taking my MAC Studio Fix Liquid Foundation in the shade NW47 and I'm putting it on top of my brows. Like I previously said, this foundation I use on the base of my face as well. So it's not like I buy a foundation just for my brows. No, child, MAC is not cheap when it comes to foundation. So the same one I use on my face, I use to the top of my brows. Next, I like to take my setting powder and just put a little bit on my face. I usually do this when the weather gets hot because my skin is oily. I'm an oily girl. So in order for my makeup to stay in place and not look like I just run a mile, that's what I usually do. I don't like to put too much because, as you can see, it leaves like blotches and then that's gonna seep through my foundation. So I make sure just shake it off and put a little bit on. Now I'm putting on my foundation and then we're gonna blend it in. One thing I forgot to do before putting on my foundation was actually setting the concealer on my eyelids. I usually do this before I put on foundation, but because I was rushing so much, I guess I forget. So after I set it with my setting powder from MAC, I also use my foundation powder to like use it as an eyeshadow. I basically use it as an eyeshadow, so when I do natural looks like this, I don't have to. Next, I'm gonna go in with my Maybelline Fit Me concealer in the shade 40 Caramel, and instead of putting it all under my eyes, I pick certain spots. This is a technique that I found on YouTube because under my eyes and my like cheeks is so chubby. I don't like to put a whole lot of concealer under it because that's gonna highlight all of that and I want my face to look snatched. So I just put it in certain places like the beginning of my eye and at the end, and I blend that straight out so that could be snatched, and I come down a little bit. So that's why you don't see me putting it like all under my eye. It's like other MUAs or whatever you want to call it. After I blend in my concealer, I usually like to just put on a setting powder and just go, or sometimes I would bake. But in this case, I actually decided to bake. So don't mind this little piece right here. This is when I started to bake. I found that first when I used to be baking, I never could get it right because under my eye used to be like that James Charles meme. And we do not want that. Nobody want to be looking like a ghost. So now that I learned to like leave it on just for a few minutes, not too long, it comes out how I want it to be. So I make sure I set it and then we go in with the contour. So for contour, I use the LA Girl concealer actually, but I got it in a dark shade. So for this part, I zoomed it in so that you could see where I start with my contour. I like to start almost really close to my eyebrows so that that whole line there could be snatched. That's the word of the week. The word of this entire video is snatched. That's what we're trying to accomplish. We need this face to be snatched. So after I put it on my nose, I like to go on the side of my face, and before I get to set my contour, I like to blend in the powder. I take this time to blend in the powder from my concealer, because if you leave it on too long and not bake too long, it's gonna give that flashback look, and I don't want flashback look if you're taking pictures. Just like with the concealer, now I set my contour with the same setting powder. So I like to make sure I do it at an angle, I guess you can say, or I'm learning as well as with you. I like to do it at an angle where how I want my nose to be shaped is how I do my setting powder. So that's why you see me being very much precise in the way that I do it. Next, I'm going to take my setting powder and we're going to basically outline where I contoured on the side of my cheeks to give my cheeks a snatched look and not to be so chubby like it usually is without makeup. This part of my makeup routine is low-key my favorite, not only because I know I'm about to finish, but because I basically feel like an artist, like my face is the art that I'm drawing on how I want it to be. So sometimes this happened where I would go back and outline it again just so that they could have like that chiseled type look. Sometimes I do this regularly, other times I don't. So you're just gonna see me here touching this up. But right now I'm gonna outline my lips just a little bit. I don't want too much of an over outline. And then I'm gonna take a brush and blend it in a little bit so that it looks natural. Right here, I take a little bit of setting powder and put it to the top of my lips just so that it could be set. And now I'm brushing off the setting powder from the sides, and now I add my setting spray. Now we highlight, and this is like my second favorite part. Like, I love a gold highlighter. I just love when someone turns and you see that highlight, like, yes, girl, you better eat them out. That's how I feel about highlighter. I can't do my makeup without it. So I'm not gonna put too much. That's why you're not seeing, like, you know, the sun shining in your face. I just put a little bit this time. Now I'm just going over some spots just to make sure that everything is smooth out. There's no lines, there's no nothing that I missed to blend in. I usually do this at the end. I recommend you to do this. Now I add in these baby lashes, and this is how they look. I had to come in for y'all to see it because it literally looks so natural. I do a few touch-ups. This is where I add some old concealer on my lips, like a little nude lip kind of look, until I find a new lipstick for me. This is what I use, and that's about it. We is done, baby. This is the final look, girl. Yes, listen, I was proud of my look, okay? I think this is natural. It's a good natural. In the end, I add lip gloss, and that was it. I was out. Thank you for watching this video. Bye.
She knows she bad, but what's new? Maybe the baddest. I want you, girl. I gotta have it.